That position today. Alan, can you hear Harry all right?
Yes, I can, David, yes.
What about these butterflies from the manager's point of view? I mean, you're coming to Wembley for the first time as a very young manager indeed.
Well, I think it's just beginning to start, David, just starting to wind up a little bit. Some way to go yet, but it's there all right. No doubt about that.
You've gone through the last week giving the impression you seem to be the most relaxed man of all the people involved. Have you been during the week?
Yes, we've been pretty relaxed up at Southport, David, getting away from it all. But I wouldn't say you stop thinking about it.
At the same time, crossing your mind must be that last meeting between the two clubs when, of course, Everton thrashed you by 6 goals to 2. Now, this is something you've got to get the lads away from, isn't it?
Yes, but we're not so bothered about that, David, because if you look at the programme today, the team is almost completely changed from that match. We had players who weren't available for that match, and in fact I think we've about 7 changes, personnel and positional, in the team today, as against the team that played against Everton and were well up 6-2.
Yeah. I heard a quote from you, I think on Sportsview a few weeks ago, and you said your aim was to make West Bromwich Albion an interesting side. You've certainly achieved that, but there's one thing to talk about a team being interesting, another thing to get the players to do it. Now, was this a mood you sold to the players, or did you just choose players that you thought were interesting players in this sense?
Well, the players I've got in my side today were here when I came at the beginning of the season, David. They're skillful players, they're good players, and they can do this. They can play well, skillfully, and get results and be interesting. We've done it this season in quite a few of our matches. But still, that is one of my pet subjects. I think you've got to be interesting to watch as well as being effective for your supporters and your spectators.
I must say you've succeeded very well in doing that, Alan, but would you like to define interesting for us? I mean, how do you see a player being interesting or a team being interesting?
Well, there's no doubt about that, David. To talk about being interesting means that you've got to be showing some action, and action in a match is usually in front of their goal. And so we have interesting players, as I would describe them, in Jeff Astle and Clive Clark, Tony Brown, Ian Collard, Bobby Hope, this type of player.
Yeah. Some people do talk about West Bromwich Albion gambling a bit, sacrificing a bit at the back. Do you see this happening in the side?
Well, this is bound to happen at times. You can't plan for every situation. You will always have situations in defence where you will be under pressure and where you will be 2-2, possibly 3-2. This does happen, but it shouldn't happen so often. As Harry says quite rightly, really your team is based on defence. You've got to be tight at the back.
Of course, that's the area you can plan, isn't it, at the back?
Yes, to a certain extent, David. You can't take everything into account. You've got to rely on the player's own individual skill and temperament to read situations and be able to do something about it.
Because, of course, you only came to Albion at the beginning of last season, didn't you?
Yes, I did, David, yes.
Had you got any great interest in the club before that? I mean, did you follow them or any boyhood interest in the club?
No, not really, David, no. I've spent all my football career, apart from a few years at Nottingham Forest early on. Since 1951, I've been up north at Carlisle.
Yeah. What interests me...
I haven't really any interest at all before I came here.
Yes, what I was leading up to there, Alan, is the fact that Albion have always had a reputation for being a good footballing club over the years, and it's something that you've established again there.
Yes, well, that's true. I knew of West Bromwich Albion. I knew that they were a good side and always played attractive football. We had that reputation too at Carlisle, and they've still got it. I think it sticks. It seems to go with clubs. You know, a style of play does seem to stick with a club.
I must say, you've had a wonderful first season in the First Division, and you deserve every credit for that. Just a small point this afternoon. Both teams have got colour changes.
Yes.
Are the boys superstitious? You're playing all in white today, aren't you?
We're all in white apart from stockings. We're in red stockings, David, but we've played in white right through this competition, and we haven't lost in white shirts yet, David, so there's no question about being superstitious.
By the way, I've just heard on the headphone that West Bromwich Albion have just left, or just on the point of leaving their hotel, which isn't very far away from the ground.